Hi, welcome to my channel, Better Monday Fasting. In this video, I'll be discussing the second technique to get us started with fasting. I already did a video with the first technique, and this video is about the second technique. Before getting started, as a disclaimer, I want to make it clear that nothing I share in this video is medical advice. And please do your own research before making any decisions about your health. So it's your decision. So that way I cover my ass and also cover yours because everybody is at a different place in life. I mean, health-wise, for me, fasting has worked really well, but everyone has her reality, so it's always good to be on the side of caution. So the second technique. So the second technique, that's the one I used when I started my fasting journey, and as I said in the video of the first technique, we all fast. Like, even if you've never done a fast in your life, we all fast. I mean, if you sleep 8 hours a day, you already have a capital of 8 hours of fasting. So that's how I look at it. So we all fast. It's just that we don't, since we're sleeping, we don't see it as fasting. So the second technique is, so once we wake up, so we already have this like 8 hours of fasting capital behind us. We're gonna keep fasting. So for that day, we're gonna pick a day where we have low responsibilities. So no work. Maybe we're at home. Maybe we have access to a bathroom. We have access to a sofa or a bed. If we feel like laying down. So yeah, a day where you don't have responsibilities and nobody relies on you. You don't have to pick anyone at the airport or like a melody. If you have one, some people they don't have that. So the first technique will be better. But if you have that luxury, so to speak, then you can try the second technique. So after we wake up, it's very simple. We're just gonna keep fasting. So we're gonna add to that 8 hours, and we're gonna keep going with our day. So if you're dry fasting, you won't be consuming any liquid and any solid food. And if you're water fasting, then you can consume water. I'll probably speak about that I'll make a video on different types of fasting. But with water fasting, you gotta be careful. It's not because you're water fasting that you wake up and you start drinking like a lot of water. So that's not the idea. Like sometimes, like my water fast, I do a good portion of it like dry, and then when I have water, it's like breaking my fast, so to speak, and then I keep going dry because a lot of water, what it's gonna do, it's gonna dilute the blood. And if you're fasting, for example, in winter time, you might feel like a little bit cold. And I also do a video about that. Like, it's not because we're drinking a lot of water that we're hydrating. So that's my belief. That's one of the chapters of my book, For a Better Monday, that I hope it will be out by October 2024. So yeah, I mean, if you drink a lot of water, it's gonna make your kidneys work. So you're gonna tire your kidneys. Hydration is it's hydrating the cells, and like drinking water, it's not necessarily hydration. So if you drink a lot of water, you're gonna pee a lot, and it's not necessarily, you're not hydrating. I mean, there's a chemical process that has to occur for the liquid to enter the body's cell. But that's another topic. So then with the second technique, so you're gonna wake up, start fasting, and keep fasting. Keep fasting. Try not to think too much about it. Like, don't obsess about it. Don't, what's gonna happen, like that. Do things, if you feel like walking, take a walk. But be careful, like be in a, for example, don't take the subway, or don't go too far away from your comfortable environment. Like maybe stay close to your home, or if you're gonna take a walk, maybe walk with someone. We want to stay on the safe side of things. And you keep fasting, because at one point, normally, it can happen that you don't feel any symptoms, but you're going to start feeling symptoms. And those symptoms, they can be more or less violent. It all depends on it depends on your toxicity level. It depends on, without fasting or with the 8 hours of repair window that you're during sleep, how much your body was able to cleanse itself or not. So once you're gonna start fasting, all the toxins are gonna come back into the system, and that's gonna create symptoms. So it can be headaches, it can be cramps on your calves, it can be cramps on your lymphatic glands. Sometimes you can have contraction like that. It can be vomiting. Also, you can have skin reactions. You might start itching your face, many things can happen. Also, depending on your diet, addiction to sugar, salt, all that. Like you might feel really thirsty or really hungry. A lot of things can happen. So the idea is to find out a little bit about our current limits. So you're going to be fasting until it gets, I call it the sweet spot, when it starts getting little challenging. And once it starts getting challenging, then you make a decision. I always, for example, when it starts, you start experimenting symptoms. It could be headache, it could be all the symptoms I talked about. I always advise to wait 5 to 15 minutes. When you feel like something that is not comfortable, wait a little bit, because with the fasting, what happens is we have healing crisis, and they're very uncomfortable, but usually after 5-10 minutes they go away. So before making the decision to break your fast, maybe give it a shot, try to bite the bullet maybe, and then we'll try to bite the bullet. It's a beautiful tree here. And then make a decision. So when you start feeling bad, you say, okay, in 5 minutes or in 10 minutes, I make a decision if I keep fasting or I stop fasting. And and you try to go until it becomes kind of unbearable. Like when it starts getting like unbearable, or you start vomiting, or like the headaches, and maybe you start having like hallucinations, things like that, then make a decision on, well, if you feel like you can go through it, keep fasting and see what happens. But if it's already almost unbearable, and then it keeps getting worse, it's better to break the fast. So what you're gonna do is, like, once you're like, okay, I'm done for today, that was my limit. So you break your fast and you write down. You write down the hours you've been fasting. So from the night before, when you ate for the last time, and when you broke your fast. And you write it down. So you will be maybe something like 16 hours, 18 hours, 20 hours. If you are able to do the entire day, then you'll be adding another 8 hours of sleep. That's great. Like if you do it the first time, really good. But in most cases, it won't happen like that. Like you'll start having. If you never fasted before, you'll probably experience some very uncomfortable symptoms. It could be that you don't experience anything, and then you'll make a decision. Like if maybe you've been fasting for 22 hours, and you're like, you know what, I don't feel anything. Then you make a decision if you want to adventure any further, or you write it down, and you say, well, I stopped it because I wanted to stop it. It's not because I was feeling bad, and because that could also be that. Maybe with your current fasting capital, your body is really good at cleansing itself, so you don't have any toxicity. So that could be a really good news. It could also be that it happened to a friend of mine that you're fasting, nothing happens. You're fasting, nothing happens. It's just that the body is really surprised, because maybe all your life you've been eating 5-6 times a day, and now it doesn't know what to do. Like, so it doesn't do the detox process yet. So that will probably happen. So you have to keep repeating the sessions, and it will eventually happen. So once you've been to your limits, you write down the hour, and then you go back. You're going to go back to your comfort zone. So say you've done that on a Sunday or on a Saturday, then you go back to eating, and of course, like, be careful when you break your fast. I also have a whole chapter. I'll do a video about that, how to break our fast. Like, don't go eat a big hamburger or something. I mean, it's always good to start with sugarless liquids, then maybe some, it could be vegetables, or raw vegetables, or fruits, but with not too much sugar, salads, things like that. And then you can have a meal. But like usually the rule of thumb is, like, longer the fast, more careful you want to be when you come back. That's a whole another subject for the video. So for the second technique of fasting, so you write down the hour. You said, I don't know, maybe it was 17 hours. I was able to fast for 17 hours. And then you go back to your life, and maybe you go without fasting a week or two, and then when you feel like you want to give another try, that's also going to depend a lot on how were the symptoms you experienced. Hopefully they weren't too violent, and you won't make you don't want to fast. So once you recuperated, maybe a couple of weeks later, you find another day like that when you don't have much responsibility, and you do it again. And again, you take your notes and everything, and then you see, like, if you try to remember with your fasting journal, like what happened on that 17 hour, and if those things happen again, or what happened in the 17th hour, now they happen in the 19th hour or 20, or maybe you'll have the symptom earlier. That's also a possibility. You write it down and then you repeat. You get into the habit of, maybe in a month you give like 2, 3, maybe 4 times a shot like that. You pick a day and you go as much as you can, and until you assess your sweet spot, where things start getting a little challenging. As far as my experience, like so when I started, I think it was a mistake, but when I started fasting, I quit the alcohol. I started eating raw, and my first fast was like a 36-hour fast. So I did everything at once, and I think that was a mistake, because each element is an additional stress for the body, and I don't know if it's a good, like, to put it all at once. I was lucky because I think my metabolism was strong enough, so I was able to move faster, maybe in my when I initiated my fasting journey. So that was the advantage, but I don't recommend. And what happened to me is, like, I started fasting, and hour 24 I started feeling really, really bad. Like, it was like as if like I started hallucinating, like I look at the ceiling, like the ceiling was spinning, and I was like, I will see double, and huge headache, and as the time passed by, like, I start feeling worse, like really uncomfortable, like so I decided to lay on the bed. So I lay down on the bed, but I lay on my back, I wouldn't feel comfortable. I lay on the side, I wouldn't feel comfortable. Like I'll lay on my belly, I wouldn't feel comfortable. So it was like, I could not fall asleep. So at one point I decided, I think I was on my back, and I said, I'm going to rotate my body like that. I'm going to put myself on the side and get my knees close to my chin. And that seemed to be the most comfortable position. And as I rotated like that inside the bed, I literally heard my liver emptying itself into my stomach. So I heard something like, and I felt like the liquid and everything. And the second after, I had this huge need to go vomit. Like, I needed to go puke. So I went to the bathroom, started throwing up. I threw up, but since I wasn't, I had not eaten for 24 hours, it was all like some liquid, like yellow, disgusting stuff that came out. But I started feeling a bit better. I was like, wow, I feel better. I was still like totally screwed up. Like, I was still hallucinating, and the ceiling was spinning. But once I came back to the bed, now I could rest. Like, I was like, oh my God, like. And then I fall asleep, wake up the next day, like it was almost like a hangover type of feeling. I woke up, but I was feeling better than the night before, but I was like kind of, I think if I remember correctly, I still had the headache, but it was milder, and I wasn't hallucinating, but I was kind of groggy, like, and then my goal was the 36 hours, so I broke my fast to 36 hours, started feeling better, and then I did it again and again and again, and then I noticed that the second time, maybe it was way easier. Then it got easier, and then I started extending, and then I started like seeing the benefits, like like better mental clarity. I could sleep better. Like I start seeing all the results, and that's like that's the most important step. Like once you start getting the results of fasting, then it gets then it's really easy to keep fasting because you're motivated. You want to know what's next. You want to know how well you're going to be feeling. So, but unfortunately, a lot of people quit before that because, they get motivated. They're like, okay, I'm gonna be fasting. They fast, and the symptoms are brutal. And then they're like, oh no, fasting is not for me. No, never again. And that's like what we don't want. So that's why maybe watch the first technique is better in that sense, because it goes really throughout several weeks, months. It goes in a very progressive way. And probably I should have embraced that technique instead of the going like that, at once, but it ended up working. Like I made tons of mistakes with fasting, and I'll share them so you don't make the same mistakes. And but that's how we learn, and then we learn how to listen to our body and how to we learn when to do the right things, the right amount, when to fast, when to stop, how long, then it becomes very, very interesting. But to get that to that optimal level, it takes time. It takes time and experience. So I hope you enjoyed this video on the second technique on how to get started with fasting. And so I'll be doing another video with the third technique. So that's something that come up to me recently, because I was thinking like, I mean, the second one is the second technique is pretty hard, pretty difficult, and the first one also, I mean, you need to be organized, disciplined. So then I came up with a third technique. I think it's probably the easiest of the three, and then it could be also a stepping stone to, you can start with the third technique and then maybe go with the first technique and or the second one. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the video. Yeah, I hope to see you soon, inshallah.